Good morning, everyone. My name is Barak Granot, and I'm heading the Economic and Trade Mission at the Embassy of Israel here in Nairobi, Kenya. This webinar is a significant step in strengthening the ties between Kenya and Israel, particularly in the field of aquaculture. Both nations have a vast potential in this industry, and today's event is an opportunity for us all to explore synergies and opportunities for collaboration. I'd like to thank our esteemed speakers, Keren Almuzino, Stanley Moria, Dr. Paul Orina, Nicholas Kajudu, Fred Juma, and Ron Zusman, who have taken the time to share their expertise with us today, and our participants who are eager to learn and engage and do great business. Your presence here today is testament to our importance of this sector, and I would like to thank also Joanna Wanjiko from my team for facilitating this webinar. Thank you for now.
Now we'll move on to the next phase, which will be Keren, who will be giving us an overview of the Israeli aquaculture ecosystem.
I will do it with Ronnie. So hello, Kenya, Shalom, Israel. I'm Keren, the community manager at AquaculTech. Welcome to our webinar on aquaculture business opportunity in Kenya, organized in collaboration with the Economic Trade Mission in Nairobi. Thank you for joining us to explore the potential of the Kenyan aquaculture industry. Today, we will hear from experts about market potential and much more. Let's dive in. Ronnie, please take it from here.
So hello, everybody. The AquaculTech community is the Israeli biotechnology and aquaculture community. And it's a joint venture of the Israel Innovation Institute, the Ministry of Economy and Industry, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, and Israel Innovation Authority. It's a platform to boost biotechnology and aquaculture, both locally and globally, to connect all the stakeholders and to help them with whatever they need, creating an innovation ecosystem that benefits from networking, knowledge sharing, and dealing with all challenges. We are at the community, three girls, myself, Keren Almuznino, the community manager, and Efrat Kadosh, the community development manager. Our missions for 2024 is to connect and map the ecosystem, the Israeli ecosystem, to make it accessible for the world to reach, map all the challenges, global challenges, promote the members globally, to create economic growth and food security. In the community today, we have about 160 companies that develop technologies for aquaculture industry. We have 25 research institutes and R&Ds in Israel. We have 32 in the community. We have much more in Israel, but in the community, we have 32 farmers that grow and produce. We have 12 novel alternatives companies. We have 11 seafood companies, 3 corals companies, 42 technology suppliers, and 27 algae companies. Here in Israel, we also have the Innovation, the Israeli Biotechnology and Aquaculture Innovation Center that's located in Eilat. It's the Israeli hub for development and accelerate new ideas for aquaculture. And I wish you all a very good day and productive meeting today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the comprehensive presentation on AquaculTech and the Israeli ecosystem. And now I'd like to hand over to Stanley Moria, the CEO of the Aquacultural Association of Kenya, who will present the opportunities and market potential in Kenya's aquaculture industry. So Stanley, the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Brief information about the Aquaculture Association of Kenya is that it's a national umbrella body for all fish farmers in Kenya. We have a membership of around 35,000 registered members, and we focus on issues affecting the 35,000 members in the 7 counties. and caters for aquaculture industry at large. The association serves as a link between the fish farmers and the national and county government, development partners, and other farm organizations and stakeholders within the aquaculture subsector. We were established in 2007 and registered under the Societies Act in 2008. Now, on the topic of today, we all know that fish is the most widely caught and aquatic organism with an ever-growing consumption demand. Aquaculture in Kenya is practiced at varying levels in freshwater, brackish waters, and marine environments, but is predominantly in freshwater. Development of fisheries in Kenya is both multi-sectoral and multidisciplinary, involving many stakeholders. The main stakeholders in Kenya, we have the Aquaculture Association of Kenya, we have the beach management units, which networks which operate in the lakes. We have the Association of Fish Processors and Exporters of Kenya. They deal with the export of the fish, which is farmed and which is also fished in the lakes and in the ocean. Then we have the Wavuvi Association of Kenya, which caters for the fishermen in the ocean. The types of aquaculture in Kenya is that we have freshwater aquaculture, which is carried out either in fish ponds, fish pens, fish cages, tanks, and raceways. We also have mariculture in ocean, employing a variety of culture structures such as fish cages, pens or stakes, and ropes for seaweeds, ropes and rafts for mollusks and crustaceans, among others. The aquaculture production in Kenya, the fisheries subsector is categorized into capture, fisheries, and aquaculture. The total fish production, that is the figures which we have now for 2019, was 146,543 metric tons, out of which 102,331 metric tons was from freshwater and 25,670 metric tons from marine water. The aquaculture production was around 18,542 metric tons. Basically, the species captured in Kenya are Nile tilapia, that is Orchromis niloticus. We have the African catfish, the clarias, and the rainbow trout. Majority of these species used at any given site are mainly endemic to the region and more or less appropriate to the agroecological zone which they are captured. We have the pond production systems in Kenya. The culture systems that includes or supports the aquaculture in Kenya include the ponds, tanks, raceways, cages, and pens. These are some pictorials. I don't know where the cages have gone, but it was there. The challenges in fish farming in Kenya is that we have the limited access to affordable quality seed and feed. We have a weak extension, research, farmer linkage, devolution, farmer linkages and devolution. We have a low investment in aquaculture subsector, high cost of startup infrastructure and inputs, inadequate access to credit and insurance services, and high costs of investment in new technologies. The opportunities and the market potential in Kenya, they have so many. I think during the discussion we will discuss. We have good climatic conditions. We have good government policies. There are diverse technologies which are untapped since the industry is still infant. Thank you for now. I think now we get other to present. Now we can have a discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stanley, for the comprehensive presentation on Kenya's aquaculture industry, particularly the challenges and opportunities in our market. I'll now hand over to Nicholas Kagundu, who will take us through marketing strategies for aquaculture products. Nicholas, the floor is yours. Please let me know if you want me to share my screen.
All right. Yeah. So as you do that, sorry, I joined a few minutes late after the introductions. My name is Nicholas Kagundu. I work as an assistant director with the State Department of the Blue Economy and Fisheries. Currently, I'm attached at the Kenya Fish Marketing Authority, also working as an assistant director there. And I'll be presenting briefly on the marketing strategies for aquaculture products in Kenya. So I will be basically talking about what initiatives or approaches that we are using as a government organization or a government agency to support marketing of aquaculture products. And maybe as I begin, I would also want to say that as a marketing authority, we do not only market aquaculture products, we also do market basically all fisheries products. We help in marketing of all fisheries products or products that are emanating from the blue economy sector. Thank you. Next slide, kindly. Yeah, so this, the Kenya Fish Marketing Authority is established under Section 198 of the Fisheries and Management Development Act of 2016. This line just explains about our mandate, vision, and mission. And basically, we are saying that the mandate is to market fish and fisheries products from Kenya. And our vision is to be the leading agency in marketing of fish and fisheries products. And our mission is to facilitate competitive marketing of fish and fish products locally, regionally, and internationally. Yeah, so the functions, I may not go deep into this, but I'm just trying to explain what we do or where we draw our mandate. So if you look at the Fisheries and Management Development Act of 2016, that act in Kenya outlines, these 9 functions that the Kenya Fish Marketing Authority draws its mandate. And one of them is to, coming up with a marketing strategy. That is the main, actually, what anchors our activities. Then the next one is, sorry, just a minute. Let me just continue using on my other end. So I've talked about the first one, which is the development of our national fish marketing strategy. And we also supposed to ensure that the fish and fisheries products in Kenya enjoy market access at the local, national, regional, and international levels. Then number 3 is that we promote the sustainable use of fish and, by preventing or deterring and eliminating to the extent possible trade in illegal and unreported or unregulated fishing. Then we also help in enforcing national fisheries trade laws and international fisheries related trade law rules. We also identify fish market needs and trends and advise fisheries stakeholders accordingly. And this is a critical, aspect. And mainly this is what basically, after the issues of establishment and the rest, majorly this is where our daily operations are, anchored. We also organize stakeholders to ensure smooth marketing of fish and fisheries products, and we collaborate with the national and international related bodies. We also advise, the government focal person, the cabinet secretary, on issues related to national and international given to us by the authorities. So now I want to get into the strategies that we have put in place. So as an authority, we have developed the National Fish Marketing Strategy, and it is actually at the stage of launch. So this was developed last year, or this year, it's the last financial year, which is currently the year that has just ended in June in Kenya. So this National Fish Marketing Strategy is aimed at enhancing the market share of fish and fisheries products from Kenya in the local and international market. It is a document or a policy document that entails, all these strategies I'm talking about in terms of what initiatives we put in place and how we go about the business of promoting fisheries products from Kenya. Next. The second initiative or strategy is strengthening the capacity of the fisheries value chain. You realize that the small-scale fish farmers have limited capacity to effectively market fish and fisheries products. I think, it's good that the CEO, AAK, did highlight that we have got a huge number of fish farmers. And one of the challenges we have in Kenya is that these farmers have very limited capacity. It is due to the fact that they are scattered or disjointed in the management and marketing functions. So it makes it very difficult for them to be able, at the individual level, to make informed decisions in terms of where to sell competitively. So KFMA is undertaking transformation of aquaculture farmers and other small-scale fish value chain actors, one with the aim of forming affiliate marketing cooperatives to drive commercialization. What I'm saying is that as an authority, we've gone around the country, identified where we have farmers, where we have, we can form clusters And therefore, we can be able to collect data effectively and also be able to predict in terms of production trends. So we formalize them into what we call marketing cooperatives. The authority is also undertaking to capacity build aquaculture players in all aspects from production to the market. So what we do is that we actually identify where there are gaps in terms of capacity. Is it in terms of training, technical expertise? And this we do by engaging all relevant stakeholders or players. If it is a training institution, if it is a regulatory agency that deals with the certification, we build the capacity of all our players or producers so that they can, produce products that can meet the market demand. And the authority has also initiated strategies to support large-scale aquaculture producers by providing necessary linkages, both at the national and international levels, so that they can access the local and international market. Therefore, what I'm saying is that apart from the small-scale farmers, we also focus on the large-scale producers, like the one doing large-scale cage farming in the lake, or even farmers who have big, ponds or large-scale production. So we link them to appropriate or necessary, market linkages, or even financial linkages, or as a government agency, help them, thrive in the market. We have been conducting promotional activities. We are engaged in national activities, national promotional activities to promote fisheries products. And then we also do outreach engagement, or these outreach engagements are done at the local, regional, and the international levels. What I mean is that we are engaging with the local, international, and other partners so that we can be able to showcase our products, the products from our farmers. And these include trade fairs, exhibitions, shows, business forums, and other relevant events, including conferences and celebrations. These forums also promote innovations and technologies, not just the products, so that there can be a higher uptake of technologies within the value chain. And all this is done to increase or to stimulate demand and increase consumption of fish and fisheries products. Infrastructure development. The fisheries value chain is characterized by high post-harvest losses, and this is an area that probably has a lot of opportunities. It is due to the limited infrastructure and technical capacity in value proposition to support value addition and recovery of losses along the value chain. So to address post-harvest losses, KFMA, or the Kenya Fish Marketing Authority, has strategies for development of relevant infrastructure. And in this, we seek partnerships with government and other agencies, including our international partners, to invest in the development of fish markets, handling infrastructure, which include storage, processing facilities, and we also target the high aquaculture production zones in the fishing regions. We are also working on marketing information system integration. You know that data and information are critical in any marketing undertaking. So recognizing the importance, the authority has embarked on a robust initiative to integrate fish production and market information into a web-based marketing information system to make marketing operations efficient or timely. So this requires, again, concerted efforts from all players, because as an authority, there's what we can do. But if you look at this kind of a system, definitely as an authority, we are saying we would require partnerships, just so as to enhance effective marketing. We also support product development and diversification, where we have farmers producing meat, tilapia, catfish, and they would want to do value addition or come up with different products, different diversification or differentiation. We support these value chain actors, and this is critical since different markets require different products, or markets can require similar products but in different forms. That's what I'm calling the taste preferences. So through product differentiation and diversification, producers are able to fetch higher prices to access different or wider markets. We also undertake fisheries market research, and this is a big opportunity. Certain markets are specific on certain attributes or preferences. Where we have weak market research and limited information on value chain analysis, then we are not able to meet the market demands. So the authority is coming up with interventions that help in or giving advice on market research, saying this is where we have market for this product. For example, if it is the EU, what kind of products do they require for Kenyan fish, what are the standards or what are the forms. There are different countries that may require, for example, smoked fish, others sun-dried and so forth. So when a producer does not understand the market trends or the emerging markets or the preferences, for example, is it on safety, fish safety and traceability requirements in production, or even packaging and the distribution channels. When a producer is not able to meet these requirements as dictated by the buyer, then the products will be rejected. So as an authority, we provide consultancy services and technical advice on all fisheries marketing aspects. And again, we would want to do this. We do this at the local, international, and the regional levels. And we also undertake value chain analysis to know where do we have a gap, who is a service provider that is, is not available, or where do we have gaps that investors can come in. So there's a need for capacity development for aquaculture producers to ensure compliance. You realize that largely our aquaculture producers have a challenge in terms of meeting the standards. So one of the areas we are focusing on is on, capacity building for producers for compliance. May it be on certification schemes, depending on the market requirements. And we would also want to work with the relevant stakeholders, including government agencies and international partners on this. Then we also help in creating linkages, partnerships and linkages. So we will identify, for example, now we are engaging with the Israeli agencies. And we are glad that through these engagements, we are able to come up with collaborations. And we will be able to establish linkages, made in production or even processing or whichever area that we identify. And we will be glad to have played part in such an engagement on behalf of the Kenyan production sector or fishery sector. So thank you so much. I hope I took not more than the 15 minutes. Back to you, Joanne.
Thank you so much, Nicholas, for the comprehensive presentation. I'm particularly pleased that you shared most of the opportunities we're looking for example, in storage and processing facilities, infrastructure development, product development, also IT, market information systems for integration purposes, and good job with the work you're doing in strengthening the capacity for the fisheries value chain. So now I'd like to hand over to Dr. Paul Orina. Dr. Paul Orina is a freshwater scientist and also a representative of the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute. He will share some insights into aquaculture research and innovation in Kenya. So Dr. Orina, the floor is yours.
I'll just build up very quickly on what my predecessors have presented. It's quite a close-knit aquaculture sector. So my name is Paul Orina, as I've indicated. I'm the Assistant Director of Freshwater Aquaculture in Kenya. And I work with Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, probably just to give a glimpse of what Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute is. This institution was originally an East African institution that was shared between the 3 East African countries, Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. But after the breakaway of the East African Cooperation, then Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute was established in 1979 as a corporation. Our mandate runs through marine and freshwater fisheries research, aquaculture, environment, and ecological studies, as well as chemical and physical oceanography. This is mainly aimed at sharing data and information for sustainable development of the blue economy. Our headquarters is based in Mombasa, the image that you are seeing there. New facilities have come up, and we have even newer facilities for mariculture, which is an indicator that the aspects of aquaculture are growing very fast. So just a quick glimpse on where we are coming from so that it informs my research presentation. We have, for a long time as a country, depended on capture fisheries from, of course, marine waters and freshwater systems. But as the population is growing and the knowledge about the benefits of fish and fish protein is increasing, therefore the demand for fish as a source of protein is growing. And this is where aquaculture now comes in as a critical component in meeting the demand for fish. Part of our research work, normally in aquaculture, we talk about species that are in aquaculture. We are talking about Nile tilapia being the dominant species, and then followed by catfish. Of course, trout is there as an exotic species. But what we want to say is we have quite a number of indigenous species that can be brought into aquaculture. Of course, we are currently talking about an average of about 100,000 metric tons production per year. But what are we looking at? We are talking of over 400,000 metric tons demand annually for consumption in this country. And that is giving the opportunity for a few importations here and there. But as we are progressing in this presentation, we shall see other players coming on board and being able to now get into very strongly into aquaculture to be able to meet those gaps. The images that I'm showing there, very interesting, is some of the species that now are very hard to come across in our water bodies. The indigenous species of Lake Victoria, that is the Eurychromis esculentus and Eurychromis variabilis, and Tilapia unteri also showing up. But technically, these are species that you can hardly find. And so it's part of our duty to be able to identify these species by ecological zones. And we've divided this into 4 regions. That's the Lake Victoria Basin, the Rift Valley, the coast, and the Tana Athi. And why are we doing this? To be able to, as we do our research and be able to introduce more species apart from tilapia, which is dominant, and followed by catfish, can we introduce new species into aquaculture? Probably the communities will be more receptive to aquaculture because we've seen aquaculture being promoted in regions, and after some time when the projects pull out, it slows down again. We thought maybe as a research institution and as a country, maybe we bring on board species that are traditionally known by these communities. Probably acceptability will be much faster and higher. And so we have some species that, as I've explained earlier, the first image there is of variabilis. Then we have esculentas, we have Tilapia jipe on the measuring board, and of course the Eurychromis niloticus that I'm personally handling there at the research center. And out of this, we can say niloticus, Eurychromis niloticus, or Nile tilapia, is one that has experienced quite tremendous development in the country in terms of breeding program. And so we have been able to have up to the F9 generation. I hope my slides are moving, Jana. Yeah, we've had up to the 8th generation, and we're working on the 9th generation for Nile tilapia. And some of this is information shared, especially with the contribution of wild fish into our activities and other projects that have injected their resources and capacity building, as I'll be sharing this later. Especially now, if I look at the other 3 species, variabilis, esculentas, and Tilapia jipe, these are species that are critically endangered. And that's part of what we are doing as a research institution, trying to get the genetic material, live genetic material, conserving it within restricted areas, trying to multiply it, working with communities, and working towards reintroduction of this, the offspring, the seed back to the environment. Lake Jipe is drastically declining in terms of its volume and depth. The most recent research that I've done there, the deepest part of this lake is 1.5 meters only. You can imagine a lake that is 1.5 meters. And unfortunately, it's very hard to come across the Eurychromis jipe in that lake. And so that's part of the research we're doing. Tilapia baringoensis is another species within the Rift Valley lakes that is also struggling because of too much eutrophication. And these are areas that probably are very, very critical. And so aquaculture comes in to conserve this genetic material. We have other species like Labeo victorianus, which is within the Lake Victoria Basin. This is a cyprinid, very sweet. And people used to collect them along the rivers, but they're hardly found now. It's a species that we have been able to domesticate, and we've been able to pass it through the cycle, and now we can be able to produce young ones and be able to test their growth before we can also introduce it to the market as an aquaculture species. I'm probably saying that KMFRI, the county government, and the State Department of Fisheries and Blue Economy, we have worked in collaboration to be able to, in concerted efforts of engaging the community. And now in Taita Taveta, especially in Taveta County, now we are seeing farmers actually growing Tilapia jipe to full growth and selling it to the market. And that means in this way, aquaculture is also acting as a gene bank of species that are endangered so that we don't lose them completely. There's also work going on tilapia variabilis and esculenta currently, and we're testing this in cages. Of course, where are we getting this fish from? One of our duties in research is to be able to locate the pockets where these endangered species are located, and if there are potential for aquaculture, do trials. It is a participatory approach. Once we have the farmers on board and they are seeing the performance and they own the fish, then it's easier to promote more species into aquaculture, because we are currently limited to 2 or 3 species in this country. We have had collaborations in terms of research, and I thought to share this image. Images speak louder than probably the write-ups. This is when I was in Abasa, Egypt, for a collaborative exchange program where we are going to also learn their breeding program. What are the breeding programs going on there? And I also want to confirm that I have had initially training that was run back in the year 2012. We had a number of government officers, both from the Kenya Fisheries Service and Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, being trained on aquaculture economics. And I am sure that most of us are applying that. The in-pond raceway technology that we were able to be demonstrated to in Egypt now is a technology that we are domiciling in Kenya in one of the farms within the environs of Nairobi. And we hope that this, with the support of Wildfish, we shall eventually make this actually succeed and be one of the technologies that we can run away with in light of climate change. Water is limited. How do you use the limited resource to produce more fish? Of course, training and capacity building is one of our strengths as an organization and as a ministry. We are training even the very little ones on the importance of fish, the aquatic systems, and the benefits of fish. And all this is something that is cross-cutting within the ministry departments. Wildfish has greatly supported us, and part of the trainings that we have done even with farmers is one of the things that we are really, really priding ourselves on with Aquaculture Association of Kenya, where the CEO is on board. We have also had online trainings where we bring our technical staff. If Israel would be willing to partner with us so that we can have our technical staff have online trainings, and where possible, we have physical trainings, that will be an added advantage to aquaculture development. In terms of feeds, I'm just trying to run across the value chain. We have contributed so much to lowering the cost of feeds in the country, because as an organization, we put up an extruder machine, and we wanted to really understand why is the cost of feed so high. And now we can see stakeholders trying to scale it down, others seeing the potential to come and invest. And we now have local investors in feed manufacturing. Hopefully, in the near future, feed takes the most of the recurrent expenditures of the farms. And we just hope that in future, as the prices go down, aquaculture will be more meaningful economically. Our seed has also gone across to the cages, to the pond farmers. That is the improved seed, and that's part of our distribution channels, just to ensure that it is tested on farm to see its ability to perform. Novel feeds, I had this mentioned by the one who introduced this meeting, and we have duckweed, that is the lemna minor, as one of the ingredients that we want to infuse into feeds and increase possibly. Most of our warm water species may not be having high essential fatty acids. How do we inject this? By bringing in the novel feeds that probably could be having this. We pass it through the fish before it gets to humans. Issues of value addition, as I wind up, are very critical. As part of the areas that we normally research on, we have the kebabs, the samosas, the fingers, and all value addition aspects in terms of fish preparation, so that we have more value. I wouldn't fail to talk about mariculture, the issues of integrated multi-trophic aquaculture. How do we do different organisms in one ecosystem? And we have the prawns, we have the crabs, we have milkfish, this sea cucumber, seaweed is doing very well and is growing, and we have community groups there that can be promoted, can be accelerated to see more production, but not only production, but also value adding the seaweed as it gets to the market. These are some of the images at the Kenyan coast and the works going on Artemia, seaweed, and the marine tilapia. This is our own tilapia that has been introduced to the marine waters and is able to be resilient. And so now farmers at the coast can be able to also grow tilapia. Issues of, finally, cage aquaculture in Lake Victoria. We have only 6% of the lake, and much of it is a gulf. possibility of eutrophication, issues of upwelling, anoxic behavior and loss of fish, and we are compelled as an organization and as a government to assist our farmers locate their cages at ideal sites where they cannot make losses. I want to rest my case there, and probably we'll have more discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paul Orina, for the comprehensive presentation on the research and innovative strategies you're employing as the Marine Research Institute in Kenya. Also sharing insights into the efforts you're making towards conservation of genetic material to prevent loss of endangered fish species. I'm glad to see the collaborative program study that you did abroad bore fruits in terms of you adopting these technologies in Kenya, and hopefully looking forward to doing the same with Israel as well. And definitely on the issue of training, we are very keen on it, and we'll definitely look to exploit with your institution as well. So now I'd like to hand over to Mr. Fred Juma. He's a representative of Hydro Victoria Fish Hatchery Farm. He will be doing a case study presentation on the contribution that this fish hatchery farm has made to local food security in Kenya. So Fred, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, John, and hello everyone. My name is Frederick Juma. I'm an entrepreneur, fish farmer, a researcher, and a trainer at Hydro Victoria. Hydro Victoria is one of the enterprises which is working very closely with the farmers in Kenya. So I'll give a case study of what we are doing and how we are relating with the community, how we are responding to issues to do with the aquaculture. So Hydro Victoria is an inclusive, innovative social enterprise. We started off as a fish farm, a hatchery, working with farmers, supplying inputs, working with farmers in groups or individuals to see how they can be able to address the issues that are affecting them in terms of feed, in terms of capacity building, in terms of even getting skills using latest technologies. So we do this, of course, from the hatchery point of view, where we are connected to the fish hatcheries in the country through the AK and through the other government institutions, KMFRI, where we are communicating to each other in the hatchery sector to address the challenges farmers are going through, the fingerling, issues of feed, and also the skill technologies. We also do fish farming because when we produce fish and there are seasons when farmers are not buying the tilapia fingerling, the catfish fingerling, we stock them in our ponds, we stock them in our fish cages, and also we work with other partners to see how farmers can be able to come up with the skills to embrace some of the digital skills to improve in the blue economy. So currently we are addressing one of the major underpinning in the sector, and I think Dr. Rina has highlighted briefly around it. That is feed. Feed is a big challenge for the hatcheries, for the farmers. Farmers are incurring a cost to a tune of almost 8% of their production cost going to feed. And when you drill deeper, it's not just feed, but the ingredient. The ingredients that we are using in the country, for the few millers that we have in the country, they are importing nearly 100% of the ingredients. And these ingredients are coming as far as Malawi, Zambia, Uganda, and mainly the protein. So we are addressing some of these issues through the encouraging the farmers to come up with the insect-based feed protein. So we have been doing this since 2018, and the pinnacle of our activities came in 2020 during COVID, when we realized that all of a sudden farmers are not buying fingerlings from us. And when we drill deeper, it was all circled around feed. And when we talk to the Association of Feed Manufacturers, they are all struggling with the inputs. And this presents a good opportunity for any investor who wants to address some of the challenges on the feed sector. And one of the areas you could easily focus on is just the protein, ensuring that we have high quality protein, which is low cost, which can be absorbed by the feed millers. And the volumes are quite huge because most of the millers now initially started off as feed plants to make flour for feed for some of the food ingredients. But the waste of it is when they are trying to convert themselves to feed plants. fish feed plants. So you find that they're not well positioned to address the growing sector in aquaculture. And this has been one of our things that we are trying to work with the farmers through create social impact, address some of the environmental issues that are being looked at, and see how the farmers can be able to make money. So what we have decided at the farm is to do what we call vertical integration. We still maintain the hatchery, but we have cages in the water, fish cages, so that we can be able to listen to the farmers, interact with the farmers, supply them with the inputs, provide them with the capacity building. Then we also have, we are also doing insect farming, the black soldier fly on our farm and also in the community. Initially, we thought of doing it on the farm, but we realized that you need a lot of waste, huge waste to be able to make meaningful production. So we tried to do a bit of poultry on the farm, a bit of pig farming on the farm, so that we can get waste to, and also if fish die in the cages, we absorb those fish and feed them the insects and recover the nutrients. So we have been doing this with the community to just so that we can be able to achieve circular economy, circular production. And we have been scaling this now into the community by doing some of these things, because we cannot be able to have all the waste in our initial designed hatchery. So we're working with the community, train them on fish farming, on poultry farming, and black soldier fly farming, so that they can be able to also have food on the table in the shortest time. You know, remember, fish takes time to grow. And if you hear from the researchers, an average duration for fish to grow in the country is almost 8 months, 9 months. Some even take a whole year. All issues revolving around species, around feed, and farmers need to make money while they are waiting for the fish to grow. So some of the things we are looking at is to farm insects so that they can supplement and lower down the cost of feed. They use the organic manure to do vegetable farming on the kitchen gardens, and also feed some of the insects to the poultry, things that can be harvested very easily. So as we do this, we are also aggregating fish feeds. We buy fish feeds from various manufacturers. We also formulate some of the feeds locally so that we can be able to reach out to the farmers easily. We are also working with the cage fish farmers to come up with the digital innovations, use of CCTVs to do surveillance of the cages, to do monitoring, to know when the fishes are stressed, when to feed, when not to feed. We're also exploring issues to do with the automatic cage feeders. Most of the feeders, cages in the country, the farmers who are trying to come up with technologies, they're still very rudimentary. And they are actually just feeding only maybe for 4 hours. The rest of the time, the fish cannot be able to feed due to wave action. So if we have automatic cage feeders and through collaboration with the Israel, whatever innovations that you have, these are some of the opportunities that you can be able to link up with. So in the sector of feed as protein, just highlight the black soldier fly as one of the insects that feeds on organic waste in the country. Kenya is an agricultural country, and there's a lot of food waste. Nearly 40% of the food that is produced is wasted, either from farm or in the market through transportation. So we are looking at how this insect can be able to upcycle and help the municipalities manage the waste, because waste management is a big problem. An average Kenyan produces about 9 kilos of food waste annually, and this is really affecting us. When you look at the millions, 58 million Kenyans, then it can tell you how much food waste are we losing. So we are looking at how this insect, the black soldier fly, can help us recover the protein part and have it in commercial scales. All the millers, local millers, have already they have seen the research direction on the insect-based feed, but they are lacking volumes. They are lacking volumes that can allow them to redesign their formulas of feed. You find that a miller is asking for 10 tons of insect protein, which is already defatted, dry, high quality, which is not really easily available. That's why we are mobilizing the farmers so that they are not just consumers of the feed, but they can also be producers of the ingredients from their waste streams, so that they can be able to tap into this market opportunity that is there. Currently, we are working in about some counties in the western and the coastal region, and we are now scaling through collaboration with MasterCard Foundation, where we have mobilized over 1,000 farmers young people who are willing to collect organic waste and farm black soja in their homes, in their small setups. But ideally, we need also partners who can come up with a commercial scale black soja fly farming, being located closer to the food processors, industries. For example, we have one of the producer of fish in the country, which is doing cage fish farming, and they are almost having almost fish waste to a tune of 7 tons of fish waste per day, which is being churned out, and this could be trapped and being used either to make fish meal directly or come up with innovations that we can be able to tap into this. The demand is quite huge, and we are looking at how do we even empower the farmers to be able to come up with small cottage feed machineries that are required to formulate their own feed and cut down on the cost of feed, and as well extract some of the nutrients that are available in the sector, including the oil and other material that are coming from the insect. So currently, in terms of demand, in terms of how the market looks like on the insect-based, especially the black soja, there is a huge demand on the BSF black soja fly eggs, which are going between 0.7 to $1 per gram. And that's quite costly. And farmers are really looking how can they get a high breed of black soja fly that can grow faster, that can feed faster, so that we are able to produce as much protein. And the market is there, both in the live weight as well as the dry weight, and including the oil, which can also be sent out for export market. We are collaborating with some of the actors to see how this can come in. And I think from an international point of view, you can see that is one sector that's growing very fast. So any investment in Kenya can really position any investor from Israel very strategically, because Kenya aquaculture sector is growing very fast. Actually now is contributing significantly to the GDP, and there's high chances that this sector is going to take up because people are now very cautious on the diet, on the fish. There is huge demand for fish, but we have less production. We're also exploring issues to do with the alternative plant-based protein. We have been also researching on some of the production activities in Israel on the duckweed. There's a company called Hinoman, and we have been trying to learn online to see what they're doing. How can we commercialize some of the plant species like Wolfia, like Lemna? So at Hydro Victoria, we are already doing pilots based on the virtual learnings where we are seeing online materials, so that farmers, as they wait for fish to grow, because fish is taking time to grow due to the issues of species, issues of feed, and what else can they be able to earn money from? Is it the lemna to feed their other animals? Is it to feed the fish and lower the cost? Can it also be processed for human food so that it can be able to be sold in international market and even in the local market? So this is a summary of some of the things we are doing. We are also working very closely with the World Fish in terms of research, understanding the aquaculture sector in the country. Recently, we have just done a survey, a baseline survey on aquaculture characterization in the country, where they are trying to get enough data to understand the sector and be able to prioritize the decision-based aquaculture farming in the country, and many, many other actors, including MasterCard, on the digital skills, how the young people can come in. That's a summary of what I would share, but I will invite more discussions during the plenary. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fred Juma, for the presentation and for sharing insights of how you as a Hydro Victoria Fish Hatchery farm are contributing to food security through your efforts, particularly about the opportunities as well that you shared in the digital innovation, animal monitoring solutions, automatic cage feeders, the mining from waste to protein and feed, and also food as well. As an economic mission, we'd be happy to work with you also to organize maybe a delegation to Israel, to Hinoman physically. You said you're learning from them online. We'd be happy to organize for your delegation to go there and also learn from them on site. I'd now like to hand over the floor to Ronnie, who will lead us through a quick session of introduction of the Israeli companies that are here with us. And then after the quick introduction, we'll do a question and answer session. So Ronnie, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. We give you the opportunity to introduce yourselves. We are a lot of people here, so if anybody is interested to be introduced, please raise your hand and I will call you one by one. Aloni, you can open your camera and the microphone and introduce yourself. And before you'll do that, I'll just mention that we plan the next webinar with Kenya, in which the Israeli companies will have the opportunity to present their technologies. So if everyone is interested, you'll have the opportunity, just write us, send us an email, and we're starting to organize that. Aloni?
Okay. I only want to say that started to develop a new kind of cages, and I think it should be fit to the specifications that show here. And that's it. It's enough. I think the next step is just to know with whom I have the ability to.
Okay. Thank you, Aloni. We heard you but not very well, but thank you very much.
Hi there. Thank you for the invitation and the information about Kenya. I would like to ask if you know, we are a startup company in the early stage, and we all know the two major problems of aquaculture. The first one is the economical revenue regression, and the second one is the nutrient sediments of the water. And we have a solution that we utilize the local microorganism and make it into live food system. We're using AI technology, and we're on a seed stage. What we are actually looking for is a partnership and an option for investors. So I would like to know if you have any options in Kenya, which it looks like a great market for us to start with. The market in Israel is very good for us also, but it's very small. And the scale that we can do any partnership there in Kenya looks very interesting and very appealing. So I would like to know if there's any option that you can think of, and you can maybe send me some connections.
Thank you, Sivan.
Okay.
Joanna, we'll talk about it and see what we can do for Sivan, okay?
Okay. Ronnie, can I send you my mail that I can be in contact if it's relevant?
Of course, yes.
Okay, very good.
And I invite you to present at the next webinar, which Israeli companies will showcase their technologies to the Kenyan. Next time will be customers.
Okay, very good.
It's very important to pay attention to what was presented here, to see and dive into the challenges that the Kenyan market have. I think, Sivan, you're right on the spot. So next webinar, I'm sure you'll have good links, good leads.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great. There's also Ari. He was unable to raise his hand, but he also had a question.
Okay.
Hi, thank you very much for a very informative webinar. My area, my company is a startup, and we're called the Seaweed Enterprise. I've been to Kenya already, and mainly with the help of our ambassador there. But we're currently working with KMFRI and trying to close up a proof of concept where we're trying, our main purpose is to grow a number of strains of seaweed on a very large scale. So, you know, I look forward to any help that we might be able to get down the road. Thank you.
Thank you, Arya and Ari. And I urge you to subscribe to the Israeli industry map. This map is very helpful when global customers are looking for solutions and technology developers. And we can help, we can assist you if you subscribe to that map. everybody here on this webinar, this map is very relevant to all of you.
Great.
Chaim Avioz, please.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Okay. Just briefly to introduce my company, we are the owner of Nir David tilapia. We have 3 lines of genetic tilapia. We have the white black tilapia, which is all male from broodstock, producing all male only, no hormone treatment. We have the red tilapia, which is now 80% all male without hormone treatment. And we have marine tilapia. The broodstock is now located in my farms in China and Vietnam, where we are producing broodstock, and we are open for any collaboration. We have a very high genetic line, and I'll be happy to get some contacts in order to be able to introduce all my 3 lines. Thank you.
I'm putting in the chat the link to the Israeli industry map, so you can all get into the chat and use the link and subscribe to the Israeli industry map.
Okay, thank you.
I hope it was published to all. So let me check. You to Joanna. No, so I'll put it. I'll send it all to you to your emails. Thank you very much. Joanna, do you want to say anything else?
I think that's it from my end.
So thank you very much for joining us. I hope this was insightful for you, this event, and we'll see you on our next events.